Three straight losses for the Edmonton Oilers, falling on the island 3-1 tonight to kick off what is 6 games away from home. Hi, everybody. You're watching and listening to the Oil Stream post-game show. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you. Matt Kassian, our game analyst, will be with us shortly as we break down tonight's loss to kick off this extended trip. I suppose it's 2 trips broken in half with the Christmas break in between. Get in on the conversation as per usual. 780-218-9999 if you want to text us, if you're listening via the TuneIn app or on our audio stream on the EST website. That's how you can hit us up. Maybe you're driving out and about on the town, Christmas shopping, all that good stuff, visiting friends and family, whatever it is, and you want to text us, 780-218-9999. To those watching, thank you as always on our EST YouTube channel. The Nasty Chat is where you can get at us to break down Edmonton's loss tonight. All right. Not good, obviously. 3 in a row, not good as well. 3 in a row is something that you want to avoid. The good teams find ways to nip prolonged losing streaks in the bud early. The Oilers have not managed to do that. The 2 losses to the Florida-based teams, and then now a 1 to an Islanders team that has been pretty good since the Oilers and Islanders last met on November 13th at Rogers Place. And since then, the Islanders have been absolutely on fire on the power play. 33.3% in that time, the 5 weeks since that game, the Islanders' power play has been. The PK for the Islanders has been bad, really bad, to the point where they're 32nd in the National Hockey League going into tonight's action. So you look at that, and we had Greg Picker on earlier. He is the radio color commentator for the New York Islanders, and he said, hey, they've got Noah Dobson at the point on the power play. It's working. They've got Palmieri out there, and whatever that dynamic has added or changed has led to an onslaught of offense with the man advantage for the Islanders. So you go into a game like this and you're on the PK or Mark Stewart, I should prepare for this. And as much as the Oilers were likely prepared for the Islanders' power play, it did not work on this night. On the flip side, the Oilers' power play has been generally excellent over the last few years. Started out not at its usual clip this season, but then started to pick it up. And then they had numerous great opportunities on the man advantage, and they did not convert. They even had a 5-on-3, a prolonged 5-on-3. Too cute tonight. Way too cute. Passing up clear shooting lanes. Overemphasis on Leon Draisaitl to get that one-timer, which is lethal. We know that. But they really tried to force it, and it did not work on this night. I think that was the downfall, was the special teams battle. And, we're going to get into these goals here that the Oilers allowed, and we're going to get Cass's breakdown. I did see some comments. I quickly, reluctantly scanned X, formerly known as Twitter, after the first goal, the Anders Lee goal, to see what the reaction would be. And sure enough, a lot of people saying Skinner's got to squeeze that. I would like to see him squeeze that. It didn't happen, and Lee, big, strong guy, able to bang home the loose change. So I'm with people on that one. If you want to blame Skinner for the first one, okay, but some mistakes, breakdowns on the shorthanded goal that they allowed to Holmstrom, who's been on fire and has been lights out when he's been on the penalty kill this season. That was his 5th shorty of the year, which is ridiculous in itself. That was the 8th Islanders shorthanded goal of the year. So despite the fact that they're bad on the PK, they're also deadly offensively on the PK, and they showed that tonight. And then the 2-on-1, that was Holmstrom there, and then the one that Horvat scored, just nice pass through like 3 sticks And Horvat, who's an excellent goal scorer in the National Hockey League, buries it. So I'm not blaming Skinner on that one. All right, let's get to the scoring summary and the tail of the tape, and then we're going to bring in Cass, who's standing by. He's good to go. In the first period, the Oilers started out great. I thought they had a very strong first period. Leon Draisaitl early on opens things up 1:23 in on a nice play by Warren Foegele, and Matthias Ekholm, the secondary assist. I thought that was a nice set piece from the Oilers, and Draisaitl converts, beating Sorokin on the snapshot wrister. 1-0 Oil. To the second period we go. Things were looking good until the Oilers go on to the PK, and Anders Lee pots home the loose change. As we mentioned earlier, would have been nice if Skinner squeezed that one, but he doesn't. Nobody picks up Lee. He tucks it home for his 8th of the year. Palmieri and Barzal, the assist at 2:39. And then at 11:30, another power play marker. And it is the Bo Horvat goal, the one where Brock Nelson made a great pass through a couple of sticks. I think Desharnais was one of them. And then the other one, if I'm not mistaken, was Connor Brown's stick that it got through and right onto Horvat's tape, and he buries like he's known to do. Horvat's 13th, 2-1 Islanders. And then before the period was up at 14:10, it was the shorty from Holmstrom, his 10th of the year, 5th on the PK this season from J.G. Pajot to make it 3-1. That would be it for the scoring on this night. Shots on goal, 32-20 in favor of the Oilers. They tried to pour it on in the third period, and again, they did pass up some clear shooting lanes, and then on top of that, whenever they did get some opportunities, Sorokin shut the door. Face-off percentage, 52.3% to 47.7%. Power play, 0 for 4. Glorious opportunities. I mentioned that 5-on-3. They could not convert, while the PK goes 2 for 4. Hits, 25-9 in favor of the Islanders. Block shots, 22-8 in favor of the Islanders. Both teams officially scored with 10 giveaways, and then formally, officially, 6 takeaways for New York to 5 for Edmonton. 780-218-9999 is the number to text us, or via the Nasty Chat. Talk amongst yourselves as you generally do on the Nasty Chat, and then Cass, myself, and YouTube Trev will pop in there. I can see Cass is yelling at people as we bring in our game analyst, Matt Kassian, following the Oilers' 3-1 loss to the Islanders. Cass, I think this comes down to a special teams battle, and that's where the Oilers faltered. And before we get into that, who are you yelling at and why?
Oh, there's like 10 people I'm yelling at.
Unmute yourself,
the hate on Skinner party is alive and kicking like crazy, like absolutely crazy.
Mute him? No,
I'm not muted on my end.
We still can't hear you. Still can't hear you. He can fix it. He'll work on it. He'll get it going right away here. Let's go into the inbox really quickly while we get Cass set up. This one says, I'm listening on my phone in the car. I think Leon needs to not try to be too cute, like you said, Tom, and just shoot the puck. Yes, his one-timer is lethal, but I don't care if teams and players have finesse if they lose games because of that. Yes, thanks for the text. This one says, it is official now that Connor Brown is the highest paid forward without a goal, or do we need to wait for another 30 games? Asking for a friend. That's from Marino. A few Connor Brown texts have been coming in today. Hernan Salas, the Latino Heat, was chiming in. We were having a great conversation throughout the game talking about Connor Brown and his lack of production. He did hit the post again tonight. We're beyond that now. We're beyond that. This text comes in from Mike in New Brunswick. Hey, Mike, staying up late tonight. Well, not too late, all things considered, compared to times in the past with the Eastern Conference game tonight, or out east, with the start at 5:30 our time here in Edmonton. Mike from New Brunswick says, Tom, I think they are who they are. Could squeak into an 8th seed, may go on a run, but ultimately flawed. I suppose a blockbuster trade could inject something into the lineup, but short of that, I think we see who they are. Thoughts? Yeah, and I mean, fair. And I think when we watch them on that 8-game winning streak, that is the Edmonton Oilers, but they've also shown us their ugly side. I don't think this is their ugly side. I don't. I mean, the loss to Tampa was harsh. Third period collapse, absolutely. Spanked and had a coming back down to earth type of game last Saturday against Florida. And then tonight, they lost the special teams battle. Capable of better. I thought they looked good at times in this game, Mike in New Brunswick. I saw someone post, and we talked about it on the pregame show. Someone else mentioned, hey, if they go 0 on this trip, they're done this season. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. It makes the job harder. Obviously, I can hear Cass's mic is starting to work. Hopefully that was not caught on camera. I don't think it was, right? No.
Even if it was, it's fine.
It was great. It was your best Anchorman moment.
Yeah, they could hear me before as well. I guess it just for whatever reason.
I couldn't hear you here.
No, it wasn't coming through your board.
Oh, shoot.
No, I was yelling at a lot of people. The Crucify Skinner party is out in full force. And so really my question for them, and the reason that I was trolling a little bit in there, is what are you expecting when your team scores 1 goal? And what exactly are you expecting? I think it was EA that said, and thanks for, I love that people are fired up. I love that you're watching. I love that you're typing in your opinions. That's great. And I love disagreeing with your opinions when I disagree with them. I love agreeing with them when I agree with them. But like there's a lot of people that are like, he should have saved 2 tonight. I'm like, which 2?
Yeah. I think it was just the one, to lead.
Just the one. Okay, sure, fine. The Oilers were up 1-0. It's 1-1 at that point.
Yep.
Did that goal cause them to give up a shorthanded goal? Did that goal cause Vinny Desharnais to, for unfathomable reasons, not get a stick on a puck, on a pass, cross box on the penalty kill? Like, did that give up a 2-on-1 and let a cross ice pass go through on a 2-on-1? Like, what are you expecting Stuart Skinner to do on those 2 goals?
Bad pass by Nugent Hopkins on the 2-on-1, by the way.
Yeah,
trying to get it back. Nobody was home.
No one was home. So it's just like what exactly are you expecting here? What exactly are you expecting here? Now, if you say, well, he hasn't stolen the game, okay, we can talk about how he hasn't stolen the game and how you want him to be better with that. You can talk about how he needs to squeeze the first goal. But at the end of the day, your team scored 1 goal. Joaquin Gage, in on the nasty chat, says, get Jerry, he's an offensive goalie. I agree. If Stuart Skinner can't score 3 goals a game, and if Stuart Skinner can't get a shutout every single game
and score,
and if Stuart Skinner can't fix the audio, I mean, actually, by the way, I hope you all appreciate that Stuart Skinner is manning the board right now. That he had to hustle out of his equipment and get back for the post-game show. He's back there. I heard him, and it's just like, what you have to have realistic expectations. And I think, Tom, it's people are angry and frustrated that there's now 3 losses in a row, and I get that.
Understandable.
That's totally understandable. But I think having the focus and the frustration focused on Skinner, to me, when your team scored 1 goal, is not. I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me. Now, criticize the penalty kill. Let's criticize the penalty kill.
Okay, let's do it.
So let's do it, because it was so good for some time.
Yep.
And it's almost like they completely forgot what made them so good. Starting maybe with that game against Tampa, where they had instantly realized that, our sticks need to protect the middle of the ice and we can break up plays and not like, passes open up our box.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't happen anymore. Right? Like doesn't happen anymore. And you give up power play goals, and that crushes you. I mean, your hope plays tonight. Like, how many hope plays did we see? Then Ryan Nugent-Hopkins pass.
Yep. Led to
for one. Leon Draisaitl had a whole bunch of them. There was I don't know how many no-look passes where it's just like, I'm going to look this way and make a pass this way and try to fake everyone out, and you faked yourself out too. Like they had spurts in this game where they played really well. Start of the game, they were great. First 6-7 minutes of the game, they were great. Yes. They had chunks of the second period, they were great. They had chunks in the third period, they were great. Now at the third period, the Islanders just were sitting back in a defensive shell and blocking a million shots like they do, and like they did really all night. But the Oilers did not do a good job of penetrating the middle of the ice, getting bodies to the front of the net. So you could say, oh, well, Sorokin played such a good game and he was so much better than Skinner. And it's like, well, yeah, he never had any traffic.
Right. Yes.
Like a lot of your shots were from the perimeter, and did he make a couple saves? Sure. But Stuart Skinner made a couple saves too. And it was unfortunate. I think it was right before the 1 goal where I just texted you and I'm like, people better stop complaining about Skinner, because he just made a huge save pushing across the ice. and it was on the when the Oilers were on the penalty kill. So he made some saves too, people. There were a lot of things. Sorry, I'm ranting here because
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Okay, we talked about the PK. Puck's getting through. It has allowed a goal in 3 straight games. Tonight it was 2 goals. Obviously, again, just to reemphasize, I would have liked Skinner to squeeze the first one by Lee. But the Horvat goal, that gets through, I think, 2 Oilers sticks and even a Islanders stick. And Bo Horvat doesn't miss those, where it's bang, bang, and in the back of the net. And then the Holmstrom goal was a 2-on-1. Bouchard tracked back quickly after the errant and ill-timed, ill-conceived play by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to just kind of no-look, shovel it back. Cass, I think you were alluding to those types of plays. And Holmstrom's been destroying teams while shorthanded this year, and he did that. That was a nice goal. On the power play, Cass, it was like 18,000 people at UBS Arena, including all of the New York Islanders, knew you just had to take away Leon Draisaitl for the one-timer. And the Oilers, for whatever reason,
they just kept forcing it.
That's all they could do. All they could do.
But Edmonton is at its absolute best when that's the last thing that teams have to give that up because you've started using the rest of your weapons. Bouchard is blasting it from the point. McDavid is walking to the front of the net and creating some motion. That's when they're the most dangerous. You have to force them to open that up. And this is a penalty kill. And I think truly, so the Leon Draisaitl pass, if I'm coaching a penalty kill, that pass to Leon Draisaitl, and the reason that he scored so many from there last year is that's the lowest percentage play.
Right.
In the Oilers' arsenal of plays, that is the lowest percentage play. Now, for whatever reason, Edmonton kept trying to force it, and so the Islanders were just like, okay, well, let's just take away this and force them to try to do something else. And they just kept trying to do it over and over again, kept looking off other opportunities to shoot or opportunities to pass and trying to force that play. Maybe because Leon got one and they're like, oh, he got one tonight, he's going to score. And it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. I want to hit on this one in the nasty chat. Nutsy Dielson. Cass, seemed the Islanders always got sticks in the way, and the guys couldn't find any space to make plays. What did they need to do differently, or was that just good play by the New York Islanders? Well, it was good play by the New York Islanders, but they're a good defensive team. Good sticks that they're going to protect them in all the ice. But the Edmonton Oilers, how many times, Tom, did we see mad scrambles in front of the net with bodies flying there? So
few, but
a couple,
not dangerous.
A couple,
not
dangerous, and not nearly enough. I mean, you had way too many shots blocked, and granted, they blocked the most shots. They averaged like 13 a game or something. And if you could pull up, Tommy, while I'm ranting,
I'll look it up. Go ahead.
Pull up the total because they hit like 13 in like the second period, I think.
Yeah,
halfway through the game, they were already at 13. But the Edmonton Oilers defenseman in this one, if that is what's happening, if your shots from the point are getting blocked and shots from the wing are getting blocked, well, you have to either skate the puck there, not try to pass through all the sticks that we talked about were there, but you have to force the puck to the front of the net. Now, not front of the net, like trying to pass, make a beautiful play, but like shoot the puck, get it by people. If you have absolutely no lane, do what Darnell Nurse does sometimes, and you can shoot it a foot wide, try to get it bounce off the backboard and create some chaos. There was very, very limited chaos around the front of the net. And when they did have some opportunities where there was a clean lane, Tom, It's like in their brain, they're like, oh, they're going to block it. And they just threw the blind passes again instead of actually trying to force the issue and take the puck to the middle of the ice.
25 attempts blocked, 25 missed shots for the Oilers, and they still wind up with 32 shots on goal. That's from the game sheet.
Yeah.
So, Cass, quite simply, I mean, you look at Draisaitl's goal, it was a nice set play. Like, I really like how they set that up. You see Draisaitl wind up. You see, there was Ekholm fires the puck up to Foegele. He makes a quick, nice touch, gets it over to Draisaitl, and he just fires it on net. And granted, this is a guy who's one of the premier goal scorers in the National Hockey League, and those types of shots go in for him because he's that good. But there were other opportunities tonight where I thought the Oilers had a nice, clean look at the net, and instead of shooting to score or shooting for a rebound to create the chaos you were alluding to that didn't happen enough tonight, there was one play, Ryan McLeod had a nice shooting lane on his forehand, and he just went around the net. And I was like, come on, man. You know how to do that
Looking
better.
for that pretty play.
And he's not the only one. I don't want to dump on him exclusively, but his stands out because he had no one forcing him and no one taking away passing lanes. Like, he had one guy chasing him and another guy coming over from the other side. He could have gone in, taken a step, and opened up more of the net angle-wise, and instead he kind of put his shoulder down and went around, and I don't know if they got anything out of that. That was remotely threatening. That was one of, I think, a handful of really nice opportunities to take a shot, create chaos, and maybe get one that they passed up. So I think those types of situations is what did them in tonight. And yeah, they're just too cute again, too cute. And at the end of the night, they had all those shots blocked and all those attempts at the net that didn't get through. And then when they had the looks, Cass, they didn't take them.
Yep, absolutely. Raphael, I want to get the name right here. Raphael Slowick. Apparently, he's laughing at me because I'm just making excuses for Skinner over and over again. I am not making excuses for Skinner. Tommy, I'm pretty sure, and you could verify this along with pretty much everybody else, that we talked about that first goal.
We did.
And that first goal wasn't good.
You want him to have it.
To squeeze it.
Yeah.
You want him to have it. You absolutely want him to have it. Now, what I have said is you don't expect goalies to push cross crease all the way over and make saves consistently. They had 4 opportunities, the Islanders tonight, cross crease opportunities. Now, Skinner got 2 of them.
Yep.
He got 2 of them. He made saves on. And so to sit and to say that this is Stuart Skinner's fault, this is Stuart Skinner. How many goals did the Oilers score, Tom? They had one goal in
the first minute and a half.
In the first minute and a half of the game, and they didn't score again all night. So why are you going to sit here and say, oh, you're just making excuses? No, I'm not making excuses for Skinner. No, I'm not. I'm saying if you're looking at the game and if you watch the game and if you watch what happened in that game, this wasn't Tampa. This wasn't Tampa.
No,
now, Tampa, Skinner's fault. And he owned it.
Right.
This wasn't Tampa. This wasn't Stuart Skinner playing poorly and not giving his team a chance to win. This was the team not helping out Stuart Skinner on the, when they were on the penalty kill, giving up chances against and not being able to score in the offensive zone. They scored 1 goal today, Tom.
Yes.
1 goal today. The shin pad assassins the whole night. They throwing pucks blindly the whole night. So to sit and to be like Stuart Skinner, see, this is why we need to trade a goalie. This isn't like we need to trade the goalie type of game. That's where Raphael. In the chat again. You gave him excuses over and over. How am I giving him excuses? I don't know. Whatever.
Now it's in some people's minds. It is like if they get the sights set on someone, like a Darnell Nurse at times, or we've seen other players, Yamamoto at times. That's all they see and all they want to see. And
well, you find one person you want to blame, and
Puljujarvi
isn't here. Yamamoto's not here, so it's a natural.
It's a moving target.
I mean, it's a moving target. Him and McLeod, right? Next guy's to run out of town.
Well, Connor Brown is in that mix as well, but he hasn't done anything.
But Connor Brown is a fair target.
Absolutely.
Connor Brown is absolutely a fair
100%.
target. I mean, he gets a post tonight.
Yes.
Gets a post tonight, but still can't do anything.
Has done diddly squat. Otherwise, diddly squat.
That's a fair target. Now, if you want to say they're paying him way too much, you can't trade him. No one's going to take that contract. No. You need to do something with that. Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. The guy's got 0 goals. He's getting paid like 5 schmil. Like
4, but yes.
4, whatever.
Still too much
close enough.
For what they're
it's
getting
still too much.
Yeah.
It's still $3 million too much now. So fine. If you want to jump all over that and say he's a huge reason or he's a big reason, well, sure, because he's not producing anything.
780-218-9999. This text comes in out of Saskatchewan. Says, hey, Tom, I'm usually a guy who's hard on goalies, not on Skinner tonight. Isles down 3 regular D-men, and we go -3 on special teams. No offensive jam tonight. Need a win bad in the next game here. I agree with that one. This one from Juan says, hey, Tom, can you throw in a couple of, those Russian goalies in your best Boney M deep voice throughout the show? I can see if I can throw that in there. Another text says, okay, Oilers have been goalied 3 times in a row. I love Skinner, and the goals for many games aren't his fault. However, Skinner hasn't stolen a game or goalied another team. Skinner is still developing, needs to be a 1B fighting for the 1A. Holland must make a trade, and being the highest paid GM, he needs to be creative. Dubas in Toronto made multiple 3-way trades and did what he could.
How'd that work out for Toronto?
They need goalies. they are. I think they need to dip into the farm and sign somebody. I know Detroit was down to 1 starter after having 3 NHL caliber goalies on their roster. Goalies are going down like crazy right now, and this is not an era of the goalie. Although a couple of good ones did steal the show, if you will, from those 2 Florida games. The teams based out of Florida, Tampa, and the Panthers, obviously. I understand this text and I'm with that texter about the Oilers haven't had Skinner or Campbell outside of that Nashville game. He played well when the Oilers weren't good, particularly on defense. He made some great saves, but after that, he was not excellent. And then the team in front of him was dog crap defensively, obviously. I don't know if I want to give Sorokin he goalied the Oilers tonight. He made some solid saves.
No, he didn't goalie the Oilers.
But he didn't make those crazy saves that we saw from Vasilevsky and Bobrovsky. And we had people the other day on Saturday after the Panthers game saying, "Hey, the Oilers didn't elevate on their rebound opportunities." They didn't, but some of those saves were still ridiculous anticipation and reflexes by Bobrovsky. This one of the 3, I think, was the least the Oilers got goalied, and more so they shot themselves in the foot on special teams and really overcomplicated things and were their own worst enemy at a lot of times in this game. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fair comment. No, they didn't get goalied. No, we didn't sit here and say that Sorokin is the only reason that the Islanders won the game. That's not what we said at all. In fact, we basically said he made a couple good saves, and then we moved on to how the Oilers kept hitting shin pads, didn't take the puck to the net, and didn't make it difficult on them. So we're not at all in any way saying that the Oilers got goalied today. Now to the texter's point, I can't remember who it was that was like, well, Skinner hasn't goaled anybody. That's fair. That's a fair.
Yeah, that's
you want to say that?
Sure.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair.
Okay.
Fair.
Yes.
He hasn't. Sure. Absolutely. But it wasn't the Oilers getting goalied. It was the Oilers. I think maybe it was my older brother. I don't know. Someone said to me once, "Oilers gonna Oiler."
Yeah.
And I've heard it a couple times. Like that's
a classic.
That's kind of
classic Rob Tychkowski line. They went full
maybe that's
Oiler.
what it is. Yeah, maybe went full Oiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
780-218-9999 to get in on the conversation. There's a bunch that have come in that are pegging Skinner as the reason why they lost tonight. I think we've gone and talked about this ad nauseum. You can get into the nasty chat. The Oilers lose 3-1 to kick off this 6-game. It's basically 2 road trips away from home. And also, they did it to themselves. I'm gonna say it. Big Dave texts and says, so this far into the season, is it fair to say that there are just more passengers on this team than drivers? 50% of the forward group just doesn't offer anything. They're not a threat offensively or defensively, even with the other issues on this team being addressed. The one that is still obvious is roster construction. That one from Big Dave. Cass, what would you say to Big Dave in your response to his text there?
Yeah, well, hindsight's always easy with your roster.
When they were winning, people were like, this is the team. This is the team. And then they dropped 3 in a row.
Last year. Yep.
Right.
Even last year. And then, I mean, that goes back to last year where it's like, we're coming out of last year where you're like, okay, this is the team. You had Brown. This is the team.
Yeah.
A couple guys, McLeod's going to take a step forward. This is the team. Bouchard step forward. Broberg's going to be first pairing defenseman all year. Some people seem to think, like it's just like you anticipated, maybe not that. That's me, being hyperbolic, but like you expected players to take a step forward, and a lot of them didn't, and then they get rolling, and then all of a sudden it is hunky dory, and everyone's feeling pretty good, and then some cracks start to show again, and then it's back to that we need to blow everything up, and everything's a problem, and I think the problems that were the problems before are still the problems now, right? Like not getting scoring, out of Brown, not getting scoring out of McLeod. Your penalty kill.
Yeah.
Fogel's been a little more quiet. Your penalty kill being leaky.
Yes.
Your power play being leaky. Which your power play is supposed to be your anchor to this team. So, I mean, we could look at roster construction again. It's easy to look back and to see where the mistakes were made. But there have been times, even during this year, where we all have looked at it and said, "Oh, this is a team." And even there's times in this game where we looked at it and they played well. Like it wasn't like they just got pumped all night. Like there were points in this game, and there were times in this game when they played really well and they controlled the puck, they controlled the shot attempts, they controlled the actual shots. Like they were generating more opportunities. There was periods where they did their periods of time when they did that, but they just they couldn't get out of their own way at times again, and just made those again just silly mistakes and the no look passes and the just giving things up that made it too easy to score goals. And we could even for all that Skinner should have squeezed that, and he thought he did.
Yeah,
he thought he did. That's why he didn't fall back. He thought he had it squeezed. He still let a guy right to the front of your net and didn't touch him.
Yes. Was it Darnell Nurse on that post?
It was Darnell Nurse on that one.
Yeah, so, I mean, missed assignment. Not squeezing the puck. It drops, missed assignment, bangs home the garbage. 780-218-9999. Nasty chat going strong. Tom Gazzola, Matt Kassian, and YouTube Trev with you as the Oilers fall 3-1 on Long Island to kick off this 6-game road trip, quote-unquote. Of course, they will have the Christmas break in a few days at home in between the New York leg of this trip, and then, of course, it wraps up in California. All right, this one, Reno stacks up another one. He says, the Nugent-Hopkins blind back pass and Bouchard's stunned and limp move to recover were definitely not Skinner's fault on that shorthanded marker. Bouch made the Bouch blunder, which outweighs the Bouch bomb. 10-1. This one from Big Dave. I got to that one. Adam in Quebec City, bonjour. I know it's a pipe dream, but this group just reeks of a need of a roster move to create some sort of spark. Cass, do they need a spark?
They need to fire the coach, generate another spark.
Oh, get out of here. Too soon. It's been a month,
Fire another
5
coach.
weeks.
I know. And we're talking about sparks. They lost 3 in a row, and they just had a big win streak. What are they under Knobloch? Is it
10-6?
10-6.
Yes.
10-6.
Correct.
So I'm not going to say they need a spark. If they lose next game, then I think we need to start saying, what are they going to do to need a spark? Because there's just, and this was when they were playing horribly before the win streak. How many times did we have this conversation of like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because if you are going to get Jack Campbell out of there, clear up that cap space, it's going to be expensive.
Yep.
It's going to be expensive, and you're basically using any ability you have to improve the rest of your team, and you're having to spend it all in one spot on that. And could you, after that, maybe bring in someone, depth signing from a forward group? For sure. Maybe you could. But then there quite literally is nothing else you can do. So, yeah, I mean, I think, and we've known this for a while, that Ken Holland should be looking for something, or Jackson, whoever's actually, pulling the trigger. Should they be looking for something? Absolutely. The real question is what exactly is it going to be? Now, I would lean towards you're probably looking for a third line centerman type of player, because that's going to be the least expensive and the most accessible and least painful to make for a trade. So should they be looking for something for a spark that way?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Be kicking the tires, be looking for it. But still, I mean, it's not you still just can't, we talk about roster construction and the someone called it in the chat, I can't remember who it was, called it unforced errors that they've made from a roster standpoint. You don't want to have this be a semi unforced error to say that we, just because we felt we needed to do something, we pulled the trigger. Like you have to make sure it's a trade. If it's a trade that makes your team better, team has to be better,
I would take one of everything, or one of each, if you will, forward, defenseman, and goalie on the wish list. Text comes
Mike Smith is in. Mike's. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, Tommy.
Go ahead.
I was going to say Mike Smithson on the nasty chat. It says, speaking about the Campbell, the burning everything in one trade.
Yeah.
Says, is that necessarily true? If you're going to take it on the chin in a Campbell trade, why not push all the chips in and fill another couple of holes while you're at it? You won't be able to.
Yeah.
Mike, I don't think you're going to be able to, because all the chips are pushed in just to move that contract out, and you end up with maybe a little bit of cap space, and then the powder's gone.
Yeah.
You don't like what other pieces are you going to be able to bring in at that point? I mean, what you could trade like a Bourgault, maybe you could trade a Broberg. Like, it's just, and again, he just threw another one in. It's the Costco approach. Trip to Costco always ends up expensive. Yes, it does. Absolutely.
It's a trap.
Always. Might as well stock up. And I understand that, but it's like, who are you going to get where you're going to be able to trade that contract? Maybe bring in another goalie, because apparently everyone thinks that's the number one issue that people are saying. I don't, but you bring in another 1A, 1B goalie, and you're going to bring in something else too. It's like, no, you're already going to have to trade like the Campbell, probably a pick and possibly a prospect to get that gone.
Dave,
no, I'm not saying it's not, Mike, and again, I'm not saying it's not a legitimate comment to say, if you're going to do it, you got to do it all the way. I agree with you. If you did do it, you do have to do it all the way. I totally agree with you that I understand the concept. I just don't know if in this proverbial world where we're going to Costco from a trade standpoint, I don't think there's the stock isn't there. Right, the stock isn't there.
It's bad
we're looking
produce
for coffee,
right now, is what it is.
Or it's bad produce.
It is.
Right, like it's expired produce. So I'm not saying you don't want to try to do that. I just don't know if it's possible to.
Yeah, the quality's not there and it's not available. We had Dave Pagnotta on Hello Hockey on Saturday. Pagnotta, a pretty good insider, and he did a quick update. We're reluctant to go Oilers on a show that's supposed to be about every other aspect of hockey and other leagues and around the National Hockey League, but we felt like we would scratch that itch. And I asked Dave, what's the situation? And he said, hey, it's not like the Oilers are out there, pushing a Jack Campbell trade, but he said if there's one available, they will explore it. Now, in conversations that have been had, the ask, like you alluded to, has been very steep. It's Campbell, it's a first rounder, and it's either another first rounder or a second rounder or a prospect. So it is a deep cut just to get rid of Jack Campbell and his contract. And if the Oilers could do it, they would. Is Jack Campbell available? 100%. But it is going to be tough to move him out. And I just want to add to that comment on Campbell. Like, we talk about the Oilers shooting themselves in the foot today on special teams. Oilers hockey ops, Kenny Holland, shot themselves in the foot on the Jack Campbell deal. That is plain and simple. And they were hopeful. A lot of people were around here that would not be the case this year, that we would not have a repeat of what went down with Jack Campbell last year. But it was all of that and then some, as he is not even putting up good numbers in the AHL. So just for those that are, hey, Jack Campbell this, hey, Jack Campbell, aren't the Oilers trying to move him? That is what Pagnotta said, and Pagnotta's dialed in with the agents and the GMs, and he knows the players well, and that's like, and he even prefaced that spiel. I retweeted it the other day, or tweeted it out, the video, if you want to go back and check it. He had those things to say about Jack Campbell, and he's like, he's my friend, and it's harsh to say this, but I have to say it. And so that's kind of where it's at, just as an update. 780-218-9999. YouTube Trev, we do have post-game.
Yeah, we got Knobloch, Derek Ryan, and Matthias Eckel.
Okay, we're going to get to that. Cass, are you sticking around for the whole show? I think we're only going to go for another 20 minutes or so, or do you need to eat or something?
Yeah, I'll stick
around. It's past dinner.
I'll stick around. My wife's having she's out right now.
Perfect.
With a friend for dinner, so we're good. I'm fired up tonight.
You're fueled up. You're fired up.
I'm ready to go.
You're all capsing it in the nasty chat. I love it. Keep the conversation going. Let's rattle off a few texts here, and we're gonna just rattle these off to get some people's thoughts in on the show. Then we're gonna go to the post game clips. Trev will play those, and then we'll get Cass's assessment off of what we see and hear from the Oilers following their 3-1 loss on the island. Okay, this one says, hey guys, Oilers have too many holes on the roster to be a contender. They need a goalie, a second line winger, top 4 D-man, 1 or 2 bottom 6 forwards. Thanks from Daryl. West End Rob says, boys, it's amazing how quickly the bandwagon empties after a couple of games. It's too bad Fogle will be a cap casualty in any trade as he's playing pretty well, including tonight. That's from West End Rob. And then this one says, the three guys you 100% can lose are Fogle, Kulak, and McLeod, and Campbell is going to Columbus or San Jose. And then one text just says, I like when Cass rants, then gives his kids poop on the monitor. Go to bed.
Yes, I told you. They're like, well, we couldn't hear you. The thing was breaking up. I'm like, well, I was telling you it's time to stop talking.
I love how people catch
Dad,
that.
we could. You know exactly what I was saying. Yeah.
Oh, that's too good. All right. I'm glad we could throw to clips on a funny note. Who are we going to hear from first, Trev?
Let's hear from Coach Knobloch. Okay. After the 3-1 loss, here he is.
Assessment of your special teams tonight.
Yeah, no, you look at our winning streak, that 8 games, and we never lost a special teams battle, and it so often comes down to that. I thought 5-on-5, we outchanced them, spent a lot of time in the offensive zone, and this was one of the nights where we got beat on the special teams, which doesn't usually happen.
3 straight losses, but you guys could have easily won 2 of those 3 games. How do you not let that frustrate you and continue focusing on the process?
Yeah, no, we can control what we can control, and that's the next game. And it's disappointing. We certainly could have had the last 2 of those games, the last 2 of our 3. I think the next 2 games are going to be very difficult for us, but certainly we can put this game behind us and get ready for the New Jersey game.
Did you see encouraging signs of improvement from your team at 5-on-5 tonight?
I did. I thought we made a lot of good puck decisions. Spent a lot of time in the offensive zone, so we weren't giving it away. I think to score in this league, or any league for that matter, you just have to go to that net hard, and I don't think we had enough traffic in front of the goaltender. I thought puck play was good, but I think we have to get more bodies around the blue paint.
How did you like to push in the third? I mean, lots of zone time opportunities. This is one of those nights you could have just used a bounce to maybe get you within 1 and see what happens.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about the scoring chances we had early in the first period where, Leon scores first, makes, that was a nice play, defenseman making the pass, forward bumping it back to him, and then we had some chances to go up 2-0. I think if we're up 2 goals, it just makes that game a lot easier, especially the way New York plays, very tight checking, and once they have the lead, it's tough to score against these guys. But I liked our guys' effort. There was no quits and some breaks. Yeah, maybe it's a different result.
Sorry if this was asked already, but did the Islanders do anything shorthanded to frustrate your power play, or was it on your side the execution?
Obviously, I think they did a really good job. I don't want to take any credit away from them, but I think there are nights that we go 0 for 4 and we just can't score. And tonight maybe one of those. I think probably looking back, we'll want some of our plays back and do things a little bit differently. But I think early on we had some really key opportunities to shoot the puck, which we did, and I think they came up with some big blocks. So. Other than that, I'm not sure what to say, just because, I'll probably have a better opinion after I look at it.
There's head coach Chris Knobloch. That was coach talk saying, hey, give them credit, basically, but our team sucked the hind banana. I think that was Pat Quinn that said that on the special teams. And
did they get a chance on a 1 minute long 5-on-3?
No, because they tried to force a pass to Leon Draisaitl 4 times.
Every single time.
Right.
Yep.
So not really.
No.
Like they had movement, but I think it was on the broadcast. I can't remember if it was Jamal Mayers, but he was talking about the Oilers being stagnant.
Yep.
I kind of disagree, but I understand what he's getting. Like they were moving around, but all the movement was telegraphed, it seemed like.
Well, there was no threatening movement.
Right.
There was movement for the sake of motion, not movement for the sake of scoring a goal.
Yeah. 780-218-9999. Let's dip back into the locker room. YouTube Trev, who's up next?
This guy always gives a good interview. Matthias Ekholm. Here he is.
Inability to capitalize on your power plays while giving up a couple of crucial ones on the PK.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was the name of the game. We lost it at the special teams battle tonight, and we got to be better as a penalty kill unit. We got to be better as a power play unit as well. So that's on us. And again, that's not great timing. We need wins right now. We need points right now. So we'll have to learn from that and be better.
When you lose a bunch in a row. When you win a bunch in a row. How do you kind of maintain that even keelness that you guys are hoping for right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we need to do right now. I mean, as much as tonight is no fun and it sucks, we got to turn the page quickly and move on. We have 2 more games before Christmas, and those are crucial games for us. So whether you do it by yourself, as a team, whatever it takes, we need to just turn our heads around, have a good practice tomorrow, and then come back and play a good game again.
Derek just shared that you guys are a process-driven team. When you look at the 2 of the last 3 losses, you guys could have easily came out on top in 2 of those games. How do you make sure you focus on the process and not just the results?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously good things about tonight's game as well. I liked our start. I liked the first period. I thought we gave it. I mean, to start the second is kind of like we turned a couple pucks over in the neutral zone. It cost us a couple penalties. They score, so it's not all bad. But I think we were we made it a little bit easy for them tonight. I thought we could have done a better job there, especially in the second. But there's obviously good things that also usually there is in a game. So we'll have to focus on that, learn from the bad, and move on.
Are they a hard team to get pucks through? They lead the league in block shots. They seem to do that. Is that a challenge against them, or how would you kind of assess that?
It is. I mean, they got 4 good lines that check really well. They skate hard. They work really hard, and you got to be on top of your game when it comes to the offensive zone, where it's sometimes we might do a little bit more, a little too complicated for ourselves and not shoot enough pucks. Usually when you shoot pucks, you can be able to crack down the defenses, and pucks kind of seem to go where nobody can really control where it's going, and you can get guys out of position. But again, I think we did shoot some pucks, but I think tonight we would have maybe liked a couple more screens in front of their goaltender as well, making it a little harder on him. So there's a lot of details that goes into it, but they did a good job for sure.
The Viking, Matthias Ekholm, pretty straightforward there. Any takeaways from that, Cass, or do you just kind of tell it as is?
Told it as it is. Their special teams let them down. Sometimes they try to be too pretty, and you break teams down by sometimes just getting the puck to the net and making sure it gets through. Even if it's not going to go in on the initial shot, that breaks defenses down. It forces people to back up towards the net, and it creates opportunities. So, I mean, he pretty much told it straight up, in my opinion.
I appreciate that from Matthias Ekholm. All right, YouTube, Trev, one more time inside the Oilers locker room.
Last but not least, we have Derek Ryan. Here he is.
Ultimately the difference here.
Yeah, I mean, for sure that's the main culprit. I thought we played a little sloppy in the second, some turnovers in the neutral zone, and let the game get away from us a little bit there, but obviously special teams were a major difference.
Where did you see the improvement on your defensive play when it came to 5-on-5 defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think we spent a lot of time in the O zone, so makes it easy to defend when you're down there. They obviously pack it in pretty tight when they're in the D zone, so we were just holding on to pucks and trying to get to the middle somehow. But, yeah, defensively I thought we played well. Gave up a little bit in the D zone there in the second period and on the kill, but other than that, pretty happy with it.
From mid-November onwards, you guys won 3, then lost 3, then win 8, now lose 3. How do you kind of find that even keel that you guys are so coveting right now?
Yeah, we're trying to just find that consistency for sure. I thought we played a really good game, maybe not a full 60, and it takes a full 60 to win in this league most nights. So
Are these some of the games when you're winning 8 in a row that kind of go your way, and if things aren't going well? Because if you look at the numbers, it's not as bad a game as maybe the score would suggest.
No, I mean, we're right there for sure. I thought we almost dominated 5-on-5, but you could say the same about the Tampa game. But at the same time, we're a process-driven group in here. We know we want to get to our game. We want to win games, obviously, but to win games, you have to play the right way, and you just have to do that for a full 60.
You talked about 2 of those last 3 losses. You said you're process-driven. How do you make sure you focus on the process and not just the end result?
Well, yeah, we look at how we play. We know In between periods, we know if we're playing the right way, if we're getting away from our game. So, yeah, we've talked about simplifying things, and I think that's something we need to focus on just for a whole game.
Ryan, again, reemphasizing the perimeter stuff and the way that the Islanders crowd the middle. So I'm listening to that, and that's kind of been a theme. And we talked about the block shots and missed shots from the Oilers tonight. I'm thinking to myself, well, what's the solution, Cass? And immediately my mind says ugly, greasy goals. Bang, crash, dig, whatever. Shovel it across the line. And there was no appetite, it seemed like, from the Oilers to do that. Is that the right way to crack the stymieing defense or the collapsing defense, or are there better alternatives to that?
Nope. I mean, you crack it by, we talked about it, and you saw it in the very first play of the game. You crack it by playing with speed, and that was a fast play to get that first goal. And you crack it by getting pucks through. By getting pucks through, not being the old shin pad assassins, just bouncing them off, and then trying to thread a pass through over 4 sticks and by 8 shin pads. Like, you gotta. I'm actually surprised I get my math right. That's the right number of sticks and legs for that many people.
Good
so
math.
Congrats to me on that one.
Trev's giggling like a schoolgirl in the corner right now.
Yeah, well, you crack it by getting pucks to the net. And Matthias Ekholm talked about it by not being, a little bit too pretty around the outside and trying to be too fancy, though. We're going to make 8 really nice passes to open these guys up. It's like, no, you simplify and you attack. That's how you open up defenses.
Did not happen tonight for the Oilers. They fall 3-1. We have a few minutes left to go. We will get to the Remax Elite Damon Bunting Player of the Game shortly. If you got any questions, comments that you want to fire my way or Cass's way or even YouTube Trev's way, 780-218-9999 or via the nasty chat. Careful, Cass might all caps you. There's Damon right there. Look at that. You've got the coveted Damon Bunting water bottle. I've got one sitting in my fridge. I don't know where. I think I took it from here one day when Damon brought in a bunch of water. Anyway, this one from Lessie in the inbox says, this game isn't on Skinner, but sometimes a first softie can make the shoulder slump. That's not always the case, and I think we know we need a number 1B or A. Bigger common issue is this team is just too inconsistent, has been for years. We always think we have the depth going into the year, but always find out it just isn't. The D isn't strong enough, and we have too many passengers in the forward group that just aren't consistent on both ends of the ice. That one from Lessie. Gord M says too many turnovers. Power play sucked. Brown, Bouchard, lots of problems that game other than Stu. Another text from Jay, who's not a Flames fan, says, guys, is this core the right mix? In 2 years, Leon will want 13 to 15 mil. This season is a write-off at this point. I'm not saying that Leon isn't a good player, but it's 5 coaches with this core, and they have nothing to show for it. No prospects coming. It's genuinely ugly. Not a Flames fan. Jay, there's a few things in there. That's glass half empty, a lot of that, Jay, and that could be fueled by another disappointing loss tonight. But I don't necessarily agree with a lot of that in those statements, Cass.
I was too busy typing in the nasty chat furiously, so I didn't pick up some of that.
Jay, who's not a Flames fan, said, is this core, he questions if this core is the right mix and notes that Leon will want, and i.e. get, probably more than Matthews, which will probably come in around 15
Will probably be. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I don't agree that this season is a write-off. It's been bad. I don't think
it's close.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of time, and they've clawed their way back, although they're letting that all the good grace that they built up in that 8-game winning streak, these 3, that slips away a little bit, especially if it becomes 4 in a row if they lose on Thursday in New Jersey. And not a Flames fan, Jay says, I'm not saying Leon isn't a good player, but it's 5 coaches with this core, and they have nothing to show for it, and no prospects coming. I disagree with no prospects coming. I think Holloway's still a prospect. I think he's coming along. I'm curious to see if Bourgault becomes something. Bo Akey intrigues me, and if they could bring him along properly, that would be good to continue to sustain competitive seasons. I'm going to call it that. And they've been to a conference final. They went 6 games with the eventual Cup champion last year. That's something. It is something. And some people might look at it and go, that's not good enough. They need a Stanley Cup by now. I understand the frustration and needing to win in McDavid's prime. I really do. And I think they need to do it at some point. But this isn't always the Chicago model. It isn't always the Pittsburgh model. Even some of the truly great ones took forever to win. Steve Yzerman. Mario Lemieux took a while. What did he take? Well, Ray Bourque took 20 years. Lemieux took 84 to 91, 7-8 years. So we're past that now. We're getting there. We're past it with McDavid, I think, because this is season number 9. Ovechkin, like, what was it, 16, 17 seasons. So there's the template. It's hard to follow the perfect template. Chicago, outstanding, amazing what they did. Pittsburgh, amazing what they did. But people were wondering if they would ever get back after they won in, 2009? And then they rattle off 2 in a row, 16, 17. I don't know. I understand I don't want to call it panic. I don't think that's the right term, but the urgency.
No, but
urgency.
The urgency,
yes,
because
I'm
Draisaitl's up in 2025.
I don't think he's walking, though. Like, that's another thing that...
But you don't know that.
That's
you
true.
Don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know. You might not think that, but you don't know that.
Right.
And the team might not know that either. And I get the frustration because you have squandered thus far. No, not last year. Last year, I wouldn't say was a pure squander, and maybe not the year before that. But you squandered the first couple years and you delayed your truly big push to try to win the Cup with some of the moves you were made. Now that
fair.
Not all Ken Holland.
Fair.
Chiarelli was a part of that too. So I get the frustration with it. There's a lot of people clamoring for trading Draisaitl right now in the nasty chat. Don't be ridiculous. Yeah. Don't be ridiculous. No.
Don't do that.
Just no. Don't do it.
You don't win that trade ever.
No, you have to replace. You have to replace one of the best players in the world as a second center. Now we're getting into debate philosophy with Mike Smith on there, and you might be correct. The burden of proof probably is on me because I am the one that made the claim that it never works out, which is a fairly strong claim that trading one of the best players in the world never works out. So fair on the burden of proof. I will have to look though on the flip side because I don't think any of them ever have. Like Tommy, can you think like Gretzky didn't work out? You weren't a better team for it. Where else did one of the best players in the world get traded?
Joe Thornton to San Jose.
Didn't work out for the team that traded him.
No. Actually, Boston was crap until they finally came back in 2011. Yeah,
but with nothing to do with Thornton. I mean, they were horrible when he was gone. We could go, if you want to go recently, the Calgary Flames. Now, they did probably close to the best in terms of actually salvaging something, but in trading Matthew Tkachuk, where is probably a better trade for the Florida Panthers. Like, yeah. I cannot think of a single. So if someone can think of one, please put it in the chat or text in trade where one of the best players in the world was traded and it worked out well for the team that traded him.
How are the Buffalo Sabres doing after trading Eichel? How is Ottawa doing after trading Mark Stone?
Patrick Waugh, one just popped up in there.
But yeah, Montreal basically handed the Quebec Nordiques, a.k.a. the Colorado Avalanche that season, a Stanley Cup with that trade.
Yeah, when it just moving the best players in the world, even if you think you're fixing different holes in the team, it just creates another host of issues.
The one trade, that reminds me, speaking of that era, the Peter Forsberg for Eric Lindros deal, which was ridiculous in its own right. That was a unicorn among trades.
Yeah,
it worked
but that's
out for both.
At the same time that to an extent, and if Lindros doesn't get hurt, like it worked out for both.
Yeah,
and that's another like if you were going to be like, okay, you're trading Draisaitl for McKinnon, I'd go like, okay, fine. Like
that sounds
we can
good.
Deal with that. That sounds good. If you're like, we're trading Draisaitl for Matthews, I'd be like, okay, fine. That sounds good. Like an equivalent player, sure. Like, sure, but that's not what we're talking about when we're talking about patching all these different holes.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Oh, Mike Smith, he's trying to get me going.
Oh.
He threw in a Moneyball quote. I know he's part of the cult of analytics.
How many
and
World Series?
That is like their Bible.
How many World Series has
Bible.
Oakland won since Billy Beane took over? That looks like a reaction that tells me not any. Really quickly, just another example in hockey and analytics. The Buffalo Sabres have a heavy emphasis on analytics. They were a team I thought this year would turn the corner. They have some amazing, marvelous hockey players on their team. Tage Thompson among them. I really like Alex Tuck. I really do think that Rasmus Dahlin is a tremendous hocky player.
Yeah.
Owen Powers
is
is
a
be
great
good.
young
Cousins
player.
is a
Yep.
phenomenal, all-around, gritty, Canadian tough hockey player that I admire and really like. But it ain't working.
Nope.
But that's going, heavy, all in. Not
No, we don't need to get it.
It's not for tonight.
And I won't sleep. No.
Yeah, we're deep diving. We're going into deep cuts. Let's get to some more texts, and then we'll get the player of the game. We'll say goodnight. If you want to slide in some text to get in under the wire, 780-218-9999, or the nasty chat, which I haven't looked at in a while because I don't want to see who's yelling at who, and I don't want to see all caps and expletives and all that nasty stuff that happens.
You've actually, you know what? I don't think there's been any expletives.
Really?
People have been really
lovely.
good. There's been lots of yelling.
Okay.
But it's been
civil.
It's been civil.
Wow.
Civil and decent, which is great.
Wow.
Keep it up.
Keep it up. All right. Cute Laura texts in, says, instead of playing bad, the Oilers should try playing good. Keeping that simple. Thank you, Cute Laura. Good to hear from you. Ken's got your back here, Cass. Ken says, forget the Latino heat. Cranked up Cass is just as awesome. I agree. Cranked up Cass is fun. All right. Anything in the nasty chat that you're seeing that you want to hit on really quickly?
No, I think everyone's jumping in. Ontario Momes just dropped a 4-letter word.
Did we get an expletive?
I think it was the first one. But no, I don't think anything else in there. There's lots of good stuff in there. There's a couple comments. Mike Smith, who's been not the bane of my existence tonight, but we've had some back and forth. Talking about foundations, one goalie, 2D, 2 forward. I agree with you, except on the one goalie part. I think you need your 2 core forwards, and actually, I would break it down more. Your foundation is you need 1 stud D and 2 core forwards. And the whole reason of not trading Draisaitl is you get rid of one of your core forwards. But yeah. I agree with you to a certain extent. You need that foundation and that core. And that's all. That's all from the nasty chat.
Okay. Rich in Calgary, I want to throw this at you, Cass, says, do you think the Tampa game broke this team mentally? They played amazing just to lose that game. They came back with back-to-back stinkers. Cass, go ahead. I have my opinions on this, but go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, I don't think tonight was a total stinker.
Agreed.
Like, it wasn't a total stinker. They got beat badly on special teams.
Yes.
So special teams was stinky. But as a whole, the rest of the game 5-on-5, it wasn't like it was a stinker. It wasn't like they got blown up and played absolutely horrible. Yeah. So I would disagree. I don't think the Tampa game broke them. Now it stopped the momentum.
Yes.
Which
good point.
Having to get the ball rolling again can be challenging, especially for this group that has struggled all year or struggled for a significant portion of this year. But no, I don't think that Tampa game broke them.
Yeah. We've had this, like, the breaking of the Oilers has been a bit of a term that has been thrown around this year. It was, did the Golden Knights break them? Did this break them? Did the injuries break them? Did Tampa break them? No. I think they'll bounce back. It's not going to be easy. Listen, the Devils should be a better team than they are right now. The Oilers played great against them, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday prior. They got a good goaltending performance from Calvin Pickard when he needed to be there. He was. So they could beat the Devils. The Rangers are going to give them a run for their money. The Rangers are an excellent team. It's going to be tough, but are they broken? I don't think so. Again, they've kind of closed that gap. If they can get a win or two here before Christmas, excellent. And then end the calendar year with at least 2 wins. Beat Anaheim, beat San Jose. I think that LA game is going to be crucial. And if they get at least 3 wins before the calendar year is up, setting up January, I think somewhere around 500, people will be like, okay, they have a chance. It's when you start doing the prognosticating and look at the numbers, like they need a 750 winning percentage the rest of the way. That's when it can become bleak mentally. And I think naturally we do that as fans. You try to look too far ahead, and it's just part of fandom. I do it. We all do it. But I think for this team, be as myopic as possible for the rest of the year. Come up for water when you need it, but don't take a look around and go back in there and start swimming, because that's what they're going to have to do. They did it to themselves. Simple as that.
Yep.
All right. Another text says, we didn't lose any ground tonight, did we, though? And then Scalding Gourd. Do I want to get to Scalding Gourd? It's not loading. All right. You know what we're going to do? We're going to get to the player of the game with YouTube Trev. Maybe one or two more texts. Then Cass is going to give us his thoughts on the game coming up in New Jersey, and we will say good night. All right. Player of the game brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent, top producing, a realtor in the greater Edmonton area. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out on DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. YouTube, Trev, do your thing, man.
Right on. Okay, so unfortunately, not a heck of a whole lot going on the Oilers side of things tonight. Just looking at the lineup. Yeah, Draisaitl did get off the schneid with a goal, which is nice to see, but pretty meh game all around for the whole top six and just everyone. It's going to end a streak, I think, of 8 games of Oilers winning the player of the game, but no, not tonight. Just nothing. So I'm going to have to, unfortunately, pick an Islander, Ilya Sorokin, just an unbelievable goalie, a Vezina caliber goalie. He was a Vezina finalist last year. One of, a handful of just Russian goalies that are just unbelievable in the NHL. Just looking at his numbers throughout the last 4 seasons, .918 save percentage, .925, .924. He is a game changer. He is the Damon Bunting player of the game.
Ooh, very nice, YouTube, Trevor.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, man.
Look at you. Very good. You're smooth. This
Yeah,
guy,
smooth.
he's getting better every game, isn't he, Cass?
I kind of, we can't see him, or I can't see him. I know you can see him right now.
I see him.
But I kind of feel like he's twisting his mustache as he's saying that.
Dude, how'd you know?
Yeah, he is actually.
You're one of these. I just kind of got that impression. I'm like, he's definitely twisting his mustache right now, and I think it's perfect.
Oh, thanks, bro.
All right, Cass, let's take a look ahead to this game against the New Jersey Devils. The Oilers into their first back-to-back set of the season, which is incredible because we're 2.5 months into the year, and they haven't played a back-to-back. And here it comes on Thursday and on Friday going into the Christmas break. What say you, Matt Kassian?
Listen, power play's got to be better. Penalty kill's got to be better.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. Got to execute in the special teams. That is going to be absolutely crucial, getting that back on track with the start against the New Jersey Devils.
Touche.
Yep.
Touche. Couple texts to wrap things up. Boys, there has been too many expletives in the chat. People are boorish. Be nice. It's Christmas, and we don't live in Gaza. That's from Fergie's prostate. Yeah, that's what's going on there. Is just awful. But ELE, as Jackie Moon once said, everybody love everybody. I know people are not happy with the Oilers' third straight loss. Byron says, another rough night. Have to get the power play going. Seems to me that the boys do not want to shoot that puck and cause a little chaos in front of the net. Little too cute with the puck. I think they have to put that top line back together. Kane looks terrible with McDavid. That's from Byron in Winnipeg. The switch, having Kane with McDavid, effectiveness overall in your opinion, Cass? And what do you think? It just kind of,
Yeah.
Get that, like Byron said, get that top line back together. Yes or no?
Yeah. I'd get it back together.
Yeah.
Didn't work. You tried it for a game, didn't work. And it's not, and I know that sometimes when you make switches like that, you want them to be running for a little while.
Yeah.
And to give them room to run. But with how that top line was clicking, I kind of lean towards getting back to it.
Final word of the night goes to our friend Hersey. Hersey, whose brother plays for the Panthers. So I think he had a lovely Saturday. But he is an Oilers fan after obviously being a fan of his brother. Says, evening, fellas. I feel like I don't even need to go on another roller coaster in my life when watching this team. It's something else. have to love oil country. Cheers from Hersey. Well said, sir. Good to hear from you.
Thank you all for the comments and the conversation and lively discussion and debate. It helps with the emotions.
Yeah,
So
it does.
It's good. It's good.
We're in it together, Kaz. All right, that's going to do it for the Oil Stream post-game show. The Oilers fall 3-1 to the New York Islanders. That's a third straight loss. It is frustrating indeed. People not happy. Special teams were their downfall, not the goalie, although you want him to have that puck on the first goal that he allowed Stuart Skinner, but those other two were not on him. We'll see if the Oilers can regroup and sweep the season series against the New Jersey Devils on Thursday. First set of back-to-backs for the Oil. They are at MSG against the Rangers on Friday. We are on the air for the pregame show on Thursday at 4 o'clock p.m. As always, a massive thank you to everyone who tuned in, texted in, whether it was on YouTube or via the audio stream or tune in. You know we appreciate you. You know we like getting fired up and talking Oilers hockey with you. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a lovely Wednesday, and we will see you on Thursday. For Cass and YouTube Trev, I'm Tom Gazzola saying good night.